It is said that life is full of sorrows. However, it is also said that life is what we make of it. So how can we remove sorrows from life? There are many ways to remove sorrows from life. One way is to simply acknowledge that they exist and then let them go. Another way is to find the silver lining in every cloud. A third way is to take action to change the things that are causing us sorrow. Whichever way we choose, the important thing is to remember that life is full of both sorrow and joy. We can choose to focus on the joy, and in doing so, we can remove sorrows from our lives. 1. What are sorrows? Sorrows are the things that cause us pain and suffering. They can be physical, emotional, or mental. They can be caused by loss, disappointment, or failure. Sometimes, it can be hard to identify what our sorrows are. Other times, they can be so overwhelming that we can't imagine life without them. Sorrows can be debilitating. They can prevent us from living our lives the way we want to. They can cause us to withdraw from others and become isolated. We may start to feel like we're not good enough or that we don't deserve happiness. Sorrows can make us feel hopeless and lost. However, it is important to remember that sorrows are only a part of life. They do not define us. We can learn to control our sorrows and eventually remove them from our lives. We can choose to focus on the positive aspects of our lives and the people who make us happy. We can find ways to cope with our sorrows so that they don't control us. Sorrows are a natural part of life, but we don't have to let them control us. We can learn to cope with them and eventually remove them from our lives. 2. What do they do to us? When we think about the things that make us unhappy, it is easy to see how they can have a negative impact on our lives. We may start to avoid certain activities or people, we may become withdrawn and depressed, and our overall quality of life can suffer. It is important to remember, however, that sorrow is a natural part of life. We all experience it at some point, and it is not necessarily a bad thing. It can help us to appreciate the happy moments more, and it can make us more compassionate towards others. There are, however, times when sorrow can become a problem. When it is constant and overwhelming, the different types of social media unreasonable, it can start to take over our lives and make us very unhappy. If you find yourself in this situation, it is important to seek help. There are many different ways to deal with sorrow, and there is no shame in seeking help to find the best way for you. 3. How can we remove them from our lives? When we are feeling down, it can be difficult to see the silver lining. However, there are ways that we can remove sorrows from our lives. It may take some effort, but it will be worth it in the end. One way to remove sorrows from our lives is to reframe our thinking. Instead of focusing on the negative, try to look at the situation from a positive perspective. This doesn't mean that we should ignore our problems, but rather, try to see the good in them. For example, if we're going through a tough breakup, instead of thinking about all the reasons why our relationship failed, we can try to remember the good times we had together. This can help us to see the situation in a more positive light and eventually help us to move on. Another way to remove sorrows from our lives is to reach out to our support system. When we're feeling down, it's important to talk to someone who can offer us a listening ear and some words of wisdom. This could be a friend, family member, therapist, or anyone else who we feel comfortable talking to. Talking about our problems can help us to feel better, and often, our support system can offer helpful advice. Finally, we can try to take some time for ourselves when we're feeling down. This doesn't mean that we should ignore our problems, but rather, we should focus on taking care of ourselves. We can do things like exercise, meditate, read, or anything else that makes us feel good. Taking some time for ourselves can help us to relax and de-stress, which can eventually help us to feel better about our situation. 4. Let go of the past. It is so important to let go of the past and all of the negative emotions that come with it. Holding on to sadness, anger, and hurt will only prevent you from living a happy and productive life. Here are 4 ways to start releasing the pain of the past. 1. Acknowledge what happened and how it made you feel. 2. Forgive yourself for whatever role you played in the situation. 3. Forgive the other person or people involved. 4. Let go of the grudge and the need for revenge. It can be incredibly difficult to let go of the past, but it is so important to do so. Once you release the pain, you can start to heal and move forward. 5. Stop dwelling on negative thoughts. Sorrow is a part of life, and it's important to remember that everyone experiences it at some point. It's natural to want to remove sorrow from your life, but it's important to remember that it's a normal part of life. Sorrow can actually teach you a lot about yourself and others, so it's important to reflect on it and learn from it. Dwelling on negative thoughts will only make you feel worse, so it's important to focus on the positive. There are many ways to remove sorrow from your life, but it's important to find what works for you. It's normal to feel sorrowful at times, and everyone experiences it at some point in their life. Sorrow is a part of life that can actually teach you a lot about yourself and others. It's important to remember that dwelling on negative thoughts will only make you feel worse, so it's important to focus on the positive. There are many ways to remove sorrow from your life, but it's important to find what works for you. 6. Find things to be happy about. There are always things to be happy about, no matter how difficult life may seem. It may be a sunny day, a loved one's smile, or simply the fact that you are alive. Learning to find happiness in the little things can help to remove sorrows from life. It is important to focus on the positive, even when things are tough. Dwelling on negative thoughts will only make things worse. Instead, try to find something to be happy about each day. This could be something as simple as a beautiful sunset or the laughter of a child. When you start to focus on the good things in life, you will be surprised at how much happier you become. You may even find that your sorrows start to fade away. So next time you are feeling down, take a moment to think about what makes you happy. It could just be the thing that helps you to turn your life around. 7. Live in the present moment. There is no greater wisdom than learning to live in the present moment. The past is gone, and the future is not yet here. All we have is the present, and it is the only moment that matters. If we can learn to live in the present, we will be free from the sorrows of the past and the worries of the future. We will be able to enjoy the beauty of life as it unfolds before us. We will be able to find the joy in each and every moment. The present is the only moment that we have, so let us make the most of it. Let us not waste it on regrets or fears. Let us embrace it with open hearts and minds. Let us live in the present moment and enjoy the gift of life. It is important to learn how to remove sorrows from life in order to live a happy and fulfilling life. There are many ways to do this, and it is up to each individual to find what works best for them. Some popular methods include therapy, meditation, and self-reflection. It is important to find what works best for you and to stick with it.